What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You're here with Guni, Rhodri, and Apple, two Manchester United fans and a Chelsea fan here. I am being sandwiched, but I am being sandwiched from the top position of the table to wherever Manchester United are. So at least I can say that. But before I continue on with the video, make sure you do like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments as well. Let us know. We're going to be asking questions on what the solution should be for Manchester United. Obviously, yesterday's game was quite a controversial result, 4-2 away from home against Leicester, who are a pretty decent team. But for the money that's been spent and for the time that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had at Manchester United, and for the fact that in the past, I believe 3 games out of 9 points, United have only collected 1. And that is not a form for a team that should be chasing for the title. Let me start with you, Rhodri. So, Rhodri, let's go back to yesterday. What was wrong with the entire? Because there's so many talking points about yesterday. But what were the main ones that stood out for you yesterday?
Where do you start? Harry Maguire, the big one. Why did he play? He clearly didn't look fit. Yeah, that's one of the main ones. The way they play as well, they're so easy to defend against, and anyone really who's coached well and has got a good base and a good work ethic, it's just it's shown against Everton, Villa, and now Leicester. Now these are very good coached teams, but they're not the quality that we're going to be playing in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So God knows if we don't get it right by then, we could be out of sight before even we got to Christmas, and yeah, that's not good. So there's multiple things that we're going to have to get through. So, but they're a couple of main ones. They were so narrow. Don't know why Wan-Bissaka is not hugging the touchline. He's just so, yeah, it's just frustrating to watch. There's so many players that. No, Apple will tell you if you're doing a system and you're pressing, and it only takes one, and Ronaldo seems to be that one. He's not going to be pressing. He's not going to be working hard. That you want your centre forward to be getting the ball back. Like everyone, he just can't do it. So he's kind of a hindrance, but you got to kind of play to his strengths as well. Look at Portugal get on in a week. You put the ball in the box, he'll score goals, and it must be frustrating for him because Mason Greenwood is Ronaldo 20 years ago. He's not going to pass the ball. He wants to score goals. You can see Ronaldo getting frustrated by it. So, yeah, it's a lot to figure out.
I mean, Apple, I'm gonna ask you the same question, but Rhodri did mention Harry Maguire. I'm not gonna be too harsh on him this time round because the news came out that he had only just joined the team at training on Friday after sustaining a calf injury. So really and truly, Maguire should have never started. He had no business starting that game. And what message does that send to Eric Bailly? And because if you're going to start a Maguire whose fitness is clearly on the floor and you're able to play at the minute, what kind of message does that send to him?
Well, first off, I think it's a matter of desperation from Solskjaer to throw an unfit defender into the game. If I'm Eric Bailly, I'm perhaps really not taking it to heart. I think you have to look at his injury record, and we don't know if he's injured even now. It's likely that he's probably injured or carrying a knock of some sort. But we'll ignore Eric Bailly for the time being. We'll just talk about Solskjaer's decision to play someone who's not fit. You say he shouldn't have started. He probably should have played. You've got a guy that's come off the bow. I mean, he played every game of last season, every game of the Euros. I think what was the record? He broke the record for consecutive games or something like that, didn't he? So he's going to be carrying injuries at these little niggles, and you've got to give him some time off. So if he's got an injury, let him sit it out. But I think Solskjaer looked at the importance of the fixture and thought he needs to have his best centre half there. Obviously, Varane's injured. Varane's injured, and maybe just doesn't trust
knowing the opposition they're against with the pace of Vardy, and you think that was the right decision?
No, absolutely not. And it doesn't look. it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out you don't play an unfit defender, whether he's your best defender or not. When John Terry wasn't fit, when Rio Ferdinand wasn't fit and they weren't ready, they wouldn't play. Even in the big games, I understand a Champions League match, you might take a risk, you might take a chance. But it's not a Champions League game, it's a league game. There's so many decisions that go on at the minute at that club. It really does make you wonder what is going on. What happens when they turn up to Carrington on a Monday morning? What's going on? At the top of the conversation, you said about United should be title contenders. Why? Why should they be title contenders? They don't have a manager that's capable of challenging for the title. They haven't got a team that's capable of doing that. And we can say that really quite clearly because they don't have a way of playing. They don't have a system. They don't have a philosophy. You rarely see any patterns of play. Rodri touched on Wan-Bissaka not hugging the touchline. One of the first things that you talk about as a coach when you're coaching your team, especially if you want to try to keep the ball, it's about dominating the dimensions of the pitch, the height, width, and depth of the pitch. You must make the pitch very difficult to defend for the opposition when you've got the ball. We don't do that. United have possession of the ball, and it is just like it's lethargic, it's lackluster. There's no real direction. I think I've said this 100 times. It's almost as if he just turns up, picks the team, and goes, right, good players got to be good, and that's not good enough.
Yeah,
you have to
I
give
agree.
players a direction. You've got to give them some sort of information, whether it be tactical or technical. There's got to be some information. One of the other issues isn't just Solskjaer, and I think maybe Solskjaer gets the brunt of the blame because it's his name on top of the door. But Mike Phelan there is a really senior coach. He's got so much experience, both with United and other teams. But when he's been a number one, he's been relegated and he's had a really tough time. But again, you've got to look at the coaching staff and say, right, what is actually going on? Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if no one's putting it into good use, then what's the point? We're hearing about the Manchester United way, the Man United way. United haven't won anything for a long time, and there's a reason for it. The Man United way, the game has moved on, it's evolved. That's why we didn't want to keep Jose Mourinho. I mean, I personally would have kept him. We probably should have backed him and given the players that he wanted. And that would have made his unbearable style of football at least a little bit more palatable. But there's no direction, there's no philosophy. It's almost impossible to like this Man United team. And I'll be honest, there's one or two players, rightly or wrongly, they're kind of going to get the brunt of it all because they are the biggest hindrances in the side. And I hate to say it, Wan-Bissaka is one of them, and Fred is the other. But Fred is the number one culprit. And it's just, it really is just beggars belief how this can continue past Christmas.
There were two things from a tactical perspective that I wanted to point out. The first one, I don't know whether you guys think it was the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but I thought that they should have never done this. So there was a set piece that was taken in your third of the half, your defensive third of the half. Paul Pogba picked up the ball. He played the ball right across the box, and they played it back to De Gea. And ever since I've seen De Gea in a Manchester United shirt, he has never been comfortable with the ball at his feet. I don't know if this is the play where Maguire got pipped and Tielemans scored the goal, but just basically the point is that there was some schoolboy elementary stuff that I saw from a tactical perspective that could not be forgiven even at a Sunday league level. And another thing that I saw, right, was I believe Ollie was instructing his defense to bypass the midfield and just hit the long balls over to the forwards. Now, am I right in thinking that those two things shouldn't be happening? I'll start with you, Rod.
The mistake was Harry Maguire's. He's obviously not come and met the ball. He's waited for the ball to. It was obviously the pass wasn't the greatest. It could have been a bit more on the pass, but he's not match fit. You could see that he was rattled at the start. He's kicked the ball out of play, then he's got himself in a muddle by getting himself stuck in the corner. He's got out of it by getting a goal kick, and that's a bad start. You want to start the game with a positive, not a negative. Then, obviously, the fans booing him, and he's probably thinking, why are the fans booing me? All the mixed emotions, plus he's not fit. So, and you've got a Leicester side that were playing very well, and you've got a side in a team in Jamie Vardy and Inacho who were on it. So, and he just wasn't, and the mistakes he was just making multiple. And it just wasn't getting better. It was getting worse. If you see that the goals as they go on, what's he doing? It's just, it's not good. But he's played. He's wanted to play, but it's down to the manager. He should have played it.
Apple, I know you mentioned Fred and Wan-Bissaka. Yes, they are the two glaring players that are they're in the spotlight at the minute. But with that midfield pivot, has any of the partnerships really worked out when you really think about it? Whether it be McFred, whether it be Pogba, whoever it is there, or whatever partnership it is, has there really been a partnership there that has really worked for you, that you've seen that you can build on?
The real problem isn't the partnerships. The problem is the philosophy. There isn't one. There's no system. There's no system of play. You look at the way that those two deep midfielders operate when United are in possession of the ball. They don't look to show really very often. They don't try to build play. I'll be honest. It's really confusing. It's confusing for me as a coach, as someone who's also been a scout, as an analyst. As someone involved in football, it's so confusing for me to watch, because sometimes you got guys like Bruno who takes up really good positions in the upper middle third of the pitch, and then you see a long ball, and it's just really confusing for me. Wan-Bissaka will play. Wan-Bissaka will pick the ball up maybe from Lindelof or McTominay, and the pass will be negative. Or he might play a forward pass and then stay where he is. There's no desire to go and get on the end of another pass or a second ball. And this is the thing, I don't want to be too harsh on Wan-Bissaka, because I still think he's defensively one of the best, not just one of the best defenders, but probably one of the best right backs, not just in the league, but in Europe. But is this now coaching? We have to start looking at what is he learning? What sort of things has he been asked to do? Because it's so easy to criticize a player until you understand what he's been asked to do. You have to see him under someone else. And I think perhaps maybe that's just what might end up happening before Christmas. If United have got any ambition, that they'll know that they need to be better coached. Leicester are a very well coached team, but they're still a relatively small club, irrespective of whatever recent success they've had in winning the league. Brendan Rodgers is a world-class coach. End of story. He is a world-class coach. But he's not working with a crop of world-class players. He's not working with world-class players all over the pitch. He's got guys that are half decent and decent. I think in Tielemans he's got a good player. In Vardy he's got a good player. Can you tell me anywhere else on that pitch where he's got someone that could walk into the Man United squad? They played United off the pitch yesterday with Johnny Evans at the back. Now that's no disrespect to Johnny Evans, but he's 34. And injury prone, just come back from injury. Philosophy really kills opposition. When you've got guys that believe in what you're doing and they work hard to do that thing, it shows. But United don't play as a team, and I don't want to be cliche and repeat things that I've heard from other people, but it's all the same things that I've been saying for the last God knows how long. The guys turn up, and it is good players going to be good. And when it's time to defend, just work hard and be Man United. We'll do it the Man United way. Last season, this season, I've seen individuals pull Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the gut. And I think we're not going to see that anymore. Greenwood started the game off with that goal, which is good. But again, it gets Ole off the hook. Or Ole and his coaching staff off the hook. Then you start seeing moments of brilliance again from individuals that could again potentially get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his staff off the hook. So one of the other things that's maybe prolonged this decision that I think is pending, it must be pending, this is still Man United Football Club, we have to be realistic about that, is the fact that teams around us, whenever we drop points, somehow the teams around us manage to drop points. And I'll be honest, I looked at yesterday and I thought, you know what? If Chelsea drop points here, Ole will be let off the hook again. And you guys obviously rode your luck and you're really lucky. But it was still a good team performance. Defended really well. Moments of individual brilliance. Mendy was sensational. But you guys walked away with 3 points. If that's United, they capitulate and they probably concede 3 or 4, which is exactly what happened yesterday.
Rod, your next 10 fixtures, I've included Champions League and Premier League. They're very challenging to say the least. Atalanta at home, Liverpool at home, Spurs away, Atalanta away, Manchester City at home, Watford away, Villarreal away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, and Crystal Palace at home. This could be a disaster if the results don't go your way, because you could, if you don't pick up form soon, you could fall out of the Champions League because you haven't had the best start in that competition. And you could fall out of the title race because reason why I even bring up title race, Apple, I know you don't like to hear that because you know yourself, you're not in one. But a lot of Man United fans seem to think that they are. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't saying that to banter you. I really wasn't, Apple. But but like, just to put it into perspective, this is not an easy run of fixtures, Rod. What needs to happen before you go into these run of fixtures? Because, like I said, you could fall out of contention for even a top 4 race here if you're not careful.
Well, you need to work harder, coach better. Instead of, I'm seeing pictures of Michael Carrick joining in training sessions, Darren Fletcher joining training sessions. Where else does this happen? This is Man United. What's going on? So that's not going to help. So, you know, there's a lot of big players in there, and there's a lot of big games coming up. So, you know, they've got a chance to turn it round. And, you know, the odds are stacked against them massively. But, you know, against these teams, it might bode well for them where they've got to sit in and they get these teams on the counter attack. I think I'm clutching at straws, to be honest. But, you know, we'll just have to see where we are in about a month's time, because, you know, in a month's time, we could be out of the Champions League and out of the league. And if that happens, then, you know, it's pretty ominous what's going to happen. So, yeah, there's only one option if in a month's time we're out of the Champions League, because we've got some difficult matches in the Champions League as well. Atlanta's no pushover, and Villarreal, we've seen we can't beat them at home, so it's going to be difficult away from home. So, yeah, it's a big month, but like I say, there's some big players in there, and they need to turn up and perform, because at the minute they're not. But the coach needs to help them by picking the right team and picking the right formation and just getting it right. And at the minute, he's not. So, yeah, he's under pressure.
Apple, sorry, before you do go into it, I will let you have your piece, but I wanted to ask you, this is a situation, obviously 2 different clubs completely, but it's a situation that I feel that Arteta found himself very early into the season, where he had a very unfavorable run of fixtures. But obviously the expectation between Manchester United and Arsenal are completely 2 different things. So I say that to say this. Obviously, I've given you the list of the 10 that you will be playing. If things don't go right early into these runs, will you be calling for Ollie out at some stage before it gets any worse? Because this is a terrible run.
First and foremost, I'll say I'll never call for a manager to get sacked. I don't like it. I'm a coach myself. I don't like calling for people to lose their jobs. We've all got bills and families and livelihoods. You know, so I'll never call for a manager to get sacked. But I will call logic and common sense. And I've said it on this show, in this stream, and I'll say it again. It's not been good enough for a while now, and he's been getting let off the hook again by individuals for quite some time. So whether people want to acknowledge that or not, that's what's been happening. You can paper over cracks with individual performances as long as you like, but the writing's on the wall. And I think there's only so much papering you can do. Look, listen, no, United shouldn't be getting pegged back by Liverpool or Leicester. I mean, just to say that is just preposterous. Getting pegged back by Leicester, get your legs put over your head by Leicester. You know, it's just it really is beggars belief. And like I said, it's not it's not smart. And Leicester, they're a well coached team, but they don't have players like what Man United do. So they shouldn't be getting their legs put over their head or getting bent over the banister. It just shouldn't be happening. And it happens week in, week out against lesser teams. Getting pegged back, it just doesn't make any sense. So I think, look, over this next month, time will tell what's going to happen. I'm disappointed that changes haven't already been made, not as a fan, but as a football man. I'm more than, look, I'll put my passion for the club completely aside and just look at it professionally. One of the things that we all hate is incompetence. We know when people can do better or when we can do better. And you might think that you're doing a good job because you're working hard and you're under the cosh and, you know, you're staying behind at the training ground a little bit longer. But none of that stuff matters if what you're doing doesn't make any sense. You know,
right.
there has to be a purpose.
Okay, so I'll put the question in a more, obviously not an Ollie out way, because that's a bit, I respect what you were saying, but I'll ask it this way. If Manchester United go out of the Champions League in the group stages, is that a sackable offence? Not should he be sacked. Is it something that you should look at and say, all right, it needs to happen now? Roger, go ahead. Sorry, because
I'm just want to hear that American siren going on.
Those
sirens going on.
Yeah, I know it was just distracting me for a second as well, man. This is New York City for you, but yeah.
With the players he's got, and you look at that group, 100%. Yeah, you know, like Apple's just said, you know, incompetence in your job gets you sacked, and especially when you're an elite place, and Manchester United is elite. So, you know, and the Glazers are money men, you know, out the Champions League with that team, with his team, that mostly it's his players now. So, yeah, I wouldn't like to see him go, but you know, if he's not doing the job properly and we're not reaching the targets that he should be met with that team and with that squad, you know, there's only one option. But at the minute, you know, like I'm right behind him, and hopefully he can pull it together. But you know, we're all realists. We can see it with football men. We can see it, and you know, the substitutions that he makes late. That, you know, just the stuff that over the years, the couple of years that you see, and you think, well, what's going on there? So yeah, hopefully it does, and the team wake up and get the results they need. But you know, it's going to be very, very, very difficult, because to flick it on and off like a switch against these top teams, because Liverpool, Chelsea, City, these teams are elite. They're top teams. So if we don't perform, it could be a cricket score. It could be 5 or 6. If we play like we did against Leicester, it'll be 6-0.
Yeah, well, especially with the form that Salah's in. I mean, look, you say these teams are elite. They are the top of elite, you know. And United are supposed to be exactly that as well. They're supposed to be right at the very top of the pile when it comes to elite club reputation, club history. But history doesn't mean anything if the future's fucking bleak. Excuse my language, but you know, it's really difficult for me because, look, I'll be honest. We just have to be objective. Look, Guni, you know full well I'd sack my own son if he wasn't doing a good job. You know, genuinely, it really wouldn't bother me, because you have to put the football club first. You have to put the fans first. We're talking about a part of the country where 78,000 or 75,000 people work their arse to the bone to go and pay for a ticket to go and watch at Old Trafford, and they turn up to that every week. Play badly and lose, play badly and win. But it's always play badly. No matter what it is, it's always play badly.
You know, a good coach as well, mate. Plays to his strengths. And Ronaldo, in a minute, he's not getting a sniff. So it's frustrating to see, because you know they've got a very. It's hard for me to think that we're going to be worse off than last year, when we've just bought Varane, World Cup winner, Champions League winner, 75 million. Up and coming young talent, British talent, and then probably one of the greatest players to ever walk the planet, and we're worse off. That doesn't, at worst, we should be closer to City and still second. But at the minute, we're just worse. The away record's gone now, but the home record is a massive worry, because when you've got 75,000 and it's been bouncing there as well, because Ronaldo's been back and we still not be getting the results. So yeah, it's make or break this month, mate. Because it's if they don't go kindly and we don't get good results, I don't like to say it, but there can only be one outcome.
No, agreed. That's
when he's in his own words, you must have seen the video, mate, when he's in mould and he's kind of mocking Mourinho for coming second, saying, Manchester United needs to be, it's all right being coming second, but Manchester United need to be winning things. They were his words when Mourinho come second when he was a manager at Mould. So, and that was only 3 years ago.
Okay, lads. Unfortunately, I've got to cut the interview short because I've got another stream right after this, literally. But Rhodri, thank you very much for joining me, and Apple. I really appreciate your thoughts, your honest thoughts with your club. I tried to keep it banter aside and to actually address things seriously, because me just hosting this channel, I can't just be a Chelsea fan all the time. It's for the fans, you understand? So to have these constructive kind of conversations is also a very good thing to do. So I really appreciate you two for joining me today. And to everybody that's watching, thanks again for watching. Make sure you do like, share, subscribe, leave your thoughts down there in the comments. And also, both lads, their social medias will be down there in the description. All of them will be clickable links, so make sure you give them both a follow and give, bloody hell, I can't speak, and show some appreciation. You get me? But until next time, be safe. Bless.